Hey guys, welcome back to Candid Cinema. I'm Amanda, otherwise known as AMX NDA Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. If it's your first time stopping by the channel, I do movie reviews, a sprinkle of television reviews, Oscar coverage, and of course, some ranking videos. So if you guys like my content from here on out, please like, subscribe, and comment. I could talk about movies all day, and that's what I would love to do with you guys. So let's get into it. I honestly can't believe that 2021 is over. Where did the year go? We've watched so many movies. I have gone crazy trying to keep up with everything because everything that they delayed, they put into this year. So it's a tad bit crazy. So I'm going to give you guys my top 10 movies of 2021. I have some honorable mentions, of course. I have some hidden gems that I'm going to share with you. And I have my two favorite animated features of the year. So without further ado, here are my top 10 films of 2021. Coming in at number 10, I have Shiva Baby, directed by Emma Seligman and starring Rachel Sennott. I absolutely loved this movie. It was on the same level of anxiety-inducing as Uncut Gems, and I love Uncut Gems. So that was just mind-blowing experience. It's a great coming of age film. The reason why I connected with this the most is because of the pressures of trying to find a job, trying to just do the right thing, and you kind of get lost along that path and trying to make ends meet financially or however else. So it was just a really interesting story. I love the script, but the most important thing that Seligman does in this movie is that she created tension incredibly well. How could you create this much tension just going to a Shiva? And that's what blew my mind, because you have so many moving parts. You have so many characters coming into the mix. And it was just so well written to the point where, like, she was creating tension and then something big would happen. And then she would still be creating that tension and then something big would happen. So it was just constant feeling of anxiety. Like, what is she going to do in this situation? And Rachel Sennott played this beautifully. I wish she was more in the conversation for award season, because she has one of my favorite performances this year. I'm not going to spoil it for you guys. It is an experience and a half, and I highly recommend watching Shiva Baby. Coming in at number 9, I have The Power of the Dog, directed by Jane Campion. I think this is the first time that I've watched one of her films. I know, oh my God. You know, I can't say that online, but it's one of the first times that I've watched one of her films, and I was really interested with the structure of this. I know it's adapted from a novel, and the story was a bit slow for me to get into. The pacing's very slow. It's a very slow burn. And then it kind of just opens up in the third act, and I really appreciated what she did with it. So we have these three characters. We have Jesse Plemons, we have Kirsten Dunst, and we have Benedict Cumberbatch, and they all play an integral part of how it is to live in that time period. And we have these characters all wanting something different. It was really interesting to see how they explored the middle class and the higher class, and especially with Kirsten Dunst as, you know, the wife of Jesse Plemons. It's actually really funny that they're working together. The three of them, you see the power dynamics, you see the family struggle, you see all of that happen. It's all very vague. So what Jane Campion does here is leave everything up to interpretation. The more I sit with The Power of the Dog, I wrote my review for it, and I really connected with it because it was all open to interpretation. I'm someone who loves just diving into it and trying to understand symbolically what any of this means and what she wanted us to uncover. And I think that it's really intelligent filmmaking, to be honest, where, like, you just scratch the surface and you as the viewer get to assemble what these characters are trying to do, what they're trying to accomplish, who they're trying to be. And I love that. So she gave us like little breadcrumbs, and then we could figure it out on our own. Especially in the third act, I do have to say that Benedict Cumberbatch has one of the best performances of the year, and I do think that he should get nominated. Again, it is a slow burn Western, something that I normally would not gravitate towards but from the cinematography, the direction, and the performances, it really just like blew me away. I got lost in this movie. Coming in at number 8, I have one of the most controversial films right now. Leave it up to me to have a controversial film directed by one Adam McKay. I am talking about Don't Look Up. Oh boy. I thought it was very good. I thought it was very well done. I was laughing, and it's just so on the nose. And I think that people are upset with it because it's so on the nose. Like, yeah, this is what we're living in. I get it, but it's not funny. Why would you make something like this? And it's like, well, that's the point. There are people who are denying all of this. And even though we believe in climate change, we believe in all of that. And then there's climate change deniers. Everyone has their own opinion, and it's okay. It's okay. So what I love the most about this is that it just explores every avenue. They nailed the social commentary. I don't care what anyone says. The discourse surrounding this film is the exact same thing that happened in the film on a very large scale, but we're looking at it from a film standpoint, and there are people that are just going back and forth with it, and that's fine. It's okay. It's a healthy conversation to have. I don't think it's as bad as everyone is saying. I really enjoyed the performances. I think obviously DiCaprio never gives a bad performance. I really enjoyed him in this. I surprisingly loved Jennifer Lawrence in this role. I think it's one of her best to date. I'm not really a huge fan of hers, but this one really, for some reason, I just connected with her and I loved it. Jonah Hill stole the spotlight. Die laughing. Every single delivery that he had was spot on. It was great. I think Rob Morgan had some great comedic timing, and he really, really is one of the MVPs of this movie. As per usual, Miss Cate Blanchett, Lord Almighty, girl, anything you do just turns to gold. To be perfectly honest, the performance was great. So we had some great performances. Is the script perfect? No. Some jokes didn't land. I didn't laugh. But it's the chemistry between these characters, the back and forth, the banter. I believe that the scientific terminology wasn't overstuffed and we couldn't understand what the hell was, happening, because you had to take it down to a very basic level for many of the viewers, the American viewers, the world, to understand what's actually happening with this asteroid coming to Earth. So it wasn't overstuffed. I do think that he had a perfect balance of drama and comedy in this one compared to The Big Short or Vice. I do think that this was a better subject matter for him to take a stab at. I did not like The Big Short or Vice, so for me to Don't Look Up is a shock to me. If you don't like it, that's fine. Let me know in the comments. I want to dive into this. Let's talk about it. So coming in at number 7, this warmed my heart. I cried from the opening song to the very end. It is one of the most emotional movies this year. And just if you're older and you're creative, you're really going to love Tick Tick Boom, directed by Lin-Manuel Miranda. I loved it. I loved it so much. When I heard 3090 the first time, I was crying. I'm 26 right now. So everything that he kind of writes in that song, what Jonathan Larson wrote in that song, was just that's exactly how I'm feeling now. And a lot of people can resonate with that. A lot of people can be affected by those words and his lyrics and the music. Everything was just absolute perfection in my eyes. And it really hit. Andrew Garfield. My goodness, you've had a phenomenal year, my good sir. I really do think that he should win an Oscar for Jonathan Larson. His performance was absolutely incredible. I loved it. He got lost in it, and it was just, you could feel the heart of Andrew Garfield connect with Jonathan Larson to give one of the best performances of the year and of his career, to be perfectly honest. So it was Lin-Manuel Miranda's directorial debut, and I really liked what he did with it. I know that the first half was a bit messy. I was trying to understand narratively what the structure was and why they kept cutting back to a certain room. And then halfway through, it kind of clicked. It's oh, it's a story within a story within a story. And this is how he's framing it. And it hit emotionally. I listen to a soundtrack all the time. It was really good. And I love Tick Tick Boom. Coming in at number 6, I watched this movie at Sundance and it has stayed with me until now. I'm talking about Coda, directed by Sian Heder. I love this movie. I'll never forget that it was opening night at Sundance, virtually, of course, and I bawled like a baby. Such a unique story. I love the deaf representation. I think it was really important to have a family unit represented on screen in this way to show the sign language, the difficulty of one daughter who wants to, you know, go to school and pursue her love of music and singing and all of that, and she can't. And it's the pressures of being a woman in the family. It's the pressures of just the family members in general, and that goes with anyone. I mentioned Shiva Baby, that was one of them too. It's the pressures of the family and hoping that you're good enough to achieve certain things or to not disappoint them in any way. So I think that Emilia Jones also has one of the best performances of the year, and Troy Kotsur and Marlee Matlin, they have great performances, great supporting actors in this. And I really, really loved Coda. It's so heartwarming. It's beautiful. It's pure. The sound design is incredible in this film. And I really, really enjoyed it. So coming in at number 5, I have Zack Snyder's Justice League. Yes, I know it's the first comic book movie on the list out of 10. I understand. Zack Snyder's Justice League is a personal choice because of the fandom and everything that we've gone through with Zack over the past 4 years and trying to get this made, and, you know, for his daughter and supporting the EFSP. It's just something that we've campaigned for, and it was finally here. And we get Zack's full vision, 4 hours of glory on DVD and 4K. It was just something that we needed, something that I needed. It was a big moment for all of us leading up to it and kind of just being there together for him. And it was one of the most wholesome weeks on Twitter, to be perfectly honest. And then afterwards, it kind of just went haywire. But Zack Snyder's Justice League is just a very personal pick for me. I'm really happy that it's here and that we have it. And it's the perfect ending for Zack Snyder's trilogy in the DCEU. I know a lot of people are optimistic, but it's only if Zack wants to come back and he does it on his own terms. If not, he's having a hell of a time at Netflix, and I'm so excited to support him further. Coming in at number 4, I have Denis Villeneuve's Dune. Yes, I have Dune at number 4. I still get chills. I still get goosebumps when I watch this movie. I've watched it now 3 times, I think. And it's just so good. It's so good. Visually stunning to look at. I know a lot of people are complaining that the characters are weak, but those are the characters in the book. They're not really that interesting, but I think that the actors really brought a different level to all of these characters. I love Timothée Chalamet as Paul Atreides. Oscar Isaac did a great job as Duke Leto Atreides. And then Rebecca Ferguson stole my freaking heart as Lady Jessica. They all killed it. Jason Momoa was excellent. And I'm really excited to see Zendaya as Chani in part 2, because we are getting a part 2 in October 2023. Yeah, we got to wait a whole year, but still, I'm so excited that they made the money that they needed, that people streamed it on HBO Max. I think it was really important for them to see that the fans wanted this, and it's just one of the best experiences I've had in a theater. Hans Zimmer, you god, you were phenomenal. The score still gives me anxiety when I'm writing. I listen to it almost every other day. It's just so good. Actual goosebumps, and I loved it. So now we're into my top 3. I'm going to take a little break here to say, if you guys are enjoying this video, please like, subscribe, and comment. I want to know how you guys feel about my top 10 right now. If you guys disagree, I want to know. You guys can always find me over at AMX NDA Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. So let's get into my top 3. So coming in at number 3 is Spider-Man No Way Home, directed by Jon Watts. Yes, I know I have 2 comic book movies in my top 10. I understand. But like these are the best comic book movies of the year, my friends. So that's why I have No Way Home. I have never felt this way about a comic book movie. That is why it's up here. It was one of the best experiences in a movie theater that I've ever had in my life. The cameos are great. If you know, you know. I didn't expect to spend that much time with them in the third act, but man, was it absolute perfection. Everyone was fantastic in this movie. Tom Holland was amazing. And honestly, we've all been talking about it. He has one of the best performances of the year as well. So who knows how the Oscars are going to go this year. If they're going to even nominate No Way Home for Best Picture, that would be absolutely crazy because it is the first movie to ever do what they did. Just saying. It's the first time that we've ever seen this on screen. So I think it's really important to note. Shout out to Willem Dafoe as the Green Goblin. Lord Almighty, sir, you have you really just stepped up your game as the Goblin even more than you already nailed it in the first Spider-Man and Sam Raimi's. Just incredible work. And he beat the kid out of Peter Parker to become a man, and I loved it. It was great. Coming in at number 2, I have Judas and the Black Messiah, directed by Shaka King. And I know what you're thinking. Daniel Kaluuya won an Oscar for this already, but that's because the Oscars kind of messed everything up and pushed everything back. That's why some 2021 films are kind of all over the place. A lot of people don't remember that even Promising Young Woman or Minari have come out earlier this year. So I do have Judas and the Black Messiah at number 2 spot. That has not moved. It is one of the best movies this year. It blew my mind. Daniel Kaluuya is a powerhouse. Lakeith Stanfield gave a great performance as well. I love the style, the stylistic elements that he incorporated. I think everything just fit like a well-oiled machine. I love the structure of this. I thought it worked extremely well because of the whole back and forth that there's a rat in the Black Panther Party. And it kind of gave me the Departed vibes. Normally I don't compare films, but that is what it was going at. Same type of vibe, but it just looked very, very clean. It looked polished. The score worked with the jazz undertones. It came up, and then you have certain scenes that score elevated and the performances mixed in. It all just worked together. It was really, really strong. I love the camera work. The cinematography was just gorgeous to look at. Some really great lighting choices. Framing was really unique too at times. I love the tracking shots that he did. It's just so many different things combined that Shaka King knew the story that he wanted to tell visually, and then that script really just packed a punch. And then obviously you have those performances, as I said. So Judas and the Black Messiah, number 2, for sure, just blew me away this year. Coming in at number 1, this was my most anticipated at TIFF, to be perfectly honest, because I love Sir Kenneth Branagh so much. And this was his passion project. So my number 1 of the year, because of how wholesome and beautiful it was, it is Belfast. Belfast just stole my heart. Little Jude Hill really did a great job leading this film. The entire cast, from Ciarán Hinds to Judi Dench to Katrina Balfe to Jamie Dornan, incredible work from all of them. I really felt the family unit. I really did feel like I was a part of the family at some points. It's just so wholesome and heartwarming. And we have Jude Hill learning about the politics in his town, learning about the religion in his town. And we actually have those conversations from a child's perspective, which was really interesting. And I love that Kenneth Branagh did that, because it adds a different layer to what his worldview is at that time, because we normally don't see it through the eyes of a child. And I think that's really important to show, especially now. The other thing that really got to me, made me very emotional, was how Branagh presented the cinematic experience and the connection to cinema through the eyes of Jude Hill. That made me very emotional. It was like a beautiful ode to cinema. No matter what he was watching, whether it was on the big screen, on the television, he connected with that, and that was his form of escape. So Belfast is number one for me. So my honorable mentions, I have Spencer, directed by Pablo Larraín. Kristen Stewart was great. Match Made in Heaven, literally one of the scariest films of the year. Beautifully done. I also have Rebecca Hall's directorial debut, Passing, with Ruth Negga and Tessa Thompson. Their connection was absolutely incredible, and I love the exploration of these characters. It was a beautiful film, also done in black and white. And then I have something a bit more fun, okay? I have James Samuel's The Harder They Fall, one of my favorite Westerns of all time. That was just such a blast. That cast was phenomenal. Jonathan Majors, Idris Elba, Regina King, just incredible work from all of them. Then for animated feature, it was a bit difficult for me to kind of narrow it down to just one. So I have The Mitchells versus the Machines, of course, and number one, and 1A if you want to say it, and then 1B, My Heart Went to Porto Rosso with Luca. I loved it so much. The voice acting in Luca with Jacob Tremblay and Jack Dylan Grazer was just perfect for me, and I loved these movies so much. They were so cute. So I have the hidden gems of the year. I have In the Earth, directed by Ben Wheatley. If you haven't seen it, please do it. I was in a trance the entire time I was watching this movie, and I was watching this like late at night during Sundance, and it actually scared me. So fair warning, there's strobe lights. The sound design's crazy in this, and it's just so good. I have to recommend Pig, directed by Michael Sarnowski. I've never seen something like this. I've never seen this, and I love the story. Nicolas Cage is great. I went in blind. I had no idea what it was about, and I was really impressed with what they did with it and where the story went. I'm not going to spoil it, but like I highly recommend this one. Even if it's not your cup of tea at the end of this, because it wasn't my cup of tea, it's just the fact that like it surprised me, and I love when films surprise me. And lastly, another Rebecca Hall film. I did not expect to love The Night House as much as I did, directed by David Bruckner. I was absolutely invested in this storyline from beginning to end. There are some great visuals, some great scares, but psychologically, does this take you for a ride? It was fantastic. One of the best horror films of the year, I have to admit. It was really good. There's so many movies this year. There were so many movies this year. It was really hard to narrow it down with this list. I really hope you guys have watched some of these. I hope that you guys go watch some of the recs that I just gave you. And yeah, I hope everyone has a happy new year. Well, there you guys have it. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Comment, let me know how you're feeling. You guys can always follow me over at AMX Day Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. I'll catch you guys next time. Keep watching movies.